Well, good afternoon, hello and welcome. It's the iconic racing circuit here at Knockhill. It's the SMTA Scottish Motor Show. It's a glorious sunny afternoon, as you can see. We've just missed a Formula One car on the track, but don't worry, we'll get it again later on this afternoon. We're going to take you on a tour of the best features of the motor show. We're going to get the girls, the glitz, the glamour, we're going to get the cars, and we're going to get a really good time. We'll see you in a little while. Well, as you can see, we're standing here beside some Alfa Romeo 8Cs. These are the remodel of the 1950s 8C. This one's my favourite. This is the one that I'd like to drive today, but I think that one's next on the shopping list. Hopefully the cloverleaf version will be out on the track later on, but we'll see how it goes. We're going to move along over here to the Rolls-Royce Phantom. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Bigger than most cars on the road. Looks like it's been driven quite hard to get here today, judging by the amount of flies on the grille. And then, of course, the Aston Martin Vanquish just here, which is the, I do believe the cheapest, but the most powerful. Just over here is the Lotus Cup 260. It's the Exige model. This one is raced around circuits all around Britain and indeed all over Europe, and sometimes in GT classes as well. Of course, the road-going version of it here, the Elise. It's due for a facelift next year. Hopefully it'll be slightly more aesthetically pretty, because I don't like it. And the Lotus Europa, absolutely beautiful. It's the only 4-seat Lotus on the market at the moment. Well, here we are at the Renault Formula One team with Malcolm. Malcolm, hello, very nice to meet you.
Pleased to meet you. Nice sunny day here in Scotland.
Absolutely lovely. It is fantastic. Wow, look at the car. It's a 2008 race spec Renault Formula One car.
Yeah, it was racing in 2008. We've got it in this year's colour scheme and sponsorship level, so it's how you would have seen if you were watching last week in Monaco. That's the colour scheme we have there.
Minus the slick tyres.
With slicks this year.
Really?
Yes, slicks this year.
Excellent.
Yeah, unfortunately there's been so many wet starts and wet races during the season, you're probably used to seeing the intermediate tyre down there.
So how much power would this have put out when it was running?
Probably about 780 horsepower.
Okay, so very much akin to the same as the Arrows Formula One.
They are. We're looking at a similar period of sort of development.
Okay. May I ask, this would be a V10?
No, V8. Still the V8.
That's the V8.
The V8. There's one that's going to try and do the record with is the V10, I think.
It's the V10, yeah.
So they went into about 2 seasons now with this one with the V8.
Excellent.
Probably the pinnacle of what we were doing with that then.
And how's the development for next year's car coming on? Are you allowed to say anything, or is it all hush hush?
Depends what the rules are going to be. Onward development. We're still in the area of actually working on this year's car rather than sort of putting it behind us. So we're still up there. We've made quite some innovations for Monaco with a new floor, new wings, and we'll carry that on through the season.
You must be pretty proud of the way that Robert Kubica's driving.
Very much so. I think now we're looking at the car that he deserves. Beginning of the season, as I think a lot of the team did. Without the testing, you struggle a little bit to make up those tenths of a second.
Yes, of course. But a tenth of a second is like a mile,
this is
isn't
it. And the weather conditions, pit stop strategies have come into play, which is a good thing, I think, for the sport, watching it. But it means perhaps our tactical decisions we've had to throw out the window.
Well, thank you very much, Malcolm. Thank you very much indeed. It's been an absolute pleasure meeting you. Thank you very much indeed. Russell Patterson, who has Russell Patterson Morgan. It's the vintage UK brand, the vintage British sort of emblem, the mark that kind of started, I guess. Well, to be honest, I don't really know enough about Morgan's to know where it started. Perhaps you could fill us in a little bit.
Yeah, of course, delighted to. Morgan started production in 1909, so it's 101 years. It's still with the same family, so it's the 3rd generation now of Morgans that run it. Cars are still coach built the way they've always been, but using modern mechanicals. So it balances the best of old motoring, but with reliability.
So Morgan, of course, in the early days, in the 1920s and 30s, they were a pretty big player on the street races, on the road races, like the Mille Miglia.
Yeah, they played a big part, particularly in cycle cars. They started as 3-wheelers and moved to 4-wheelers in the mid-30s.
And when you say 3-wheelers, that was the 1 wheel at the back and the 2 at the front, wasn't it?
That's correct, yeah. And then in the 30s they went to four wheels, and then over many years they've competed in trials, racing, winning a class in Le Mans in '62, and they're still one of the competitive cars to race just now in classic and historic racing.
Now, forgive me for asking, but one thing I do know about Morgans, and I only know this from watching Top Gear and from listening to Richard Hammond, are they actually made of wood?
Partially. They've got the traditional cars have a steel frame, or chassis I should say. On that chassis is a timber frame which the body is then nailed to. So they still use ash in all their models, even the Aero 8s, and Richard Hammond has an Aero Max, and that still has a wooden ash frame.
And I'm going to have to ask now, how did your love affair with Morgan start? I mean, we have so many Porsches and Alfa Romeos, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, even BMWs of a certain age that are in racing nowadays. Why did you choose a Morgan?
I didn't choose Morgan. I was very lucky. I had a very generous grandfather who bought me a Morgan for my 21st birthday. And that was 35 years ago. I have never been without a Morgan. I fell in love with it. At that age, you don't know what you want. And when I saw it and then drove it, that was it. It's just a lifelong love affair. To now have the dealership, which came to me unexpectedly about 3 years ago, yeah, perfect. Yeah, really lucky.
What a lovely story. Yeah. That is brilliant. That's Russell, thank you very much.
Okay, it's good to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, here we are with George. We've tracked him down, the owner of the most beautiful car ever made. Full stop. How on earth, George, did you manage to find one?
I looked for years to get the right one, and kept hearing about this car that no one could lead me to, and eventually I found a guy that knew a guy, and I went to see a chap who called himself a minus millionaire.
All right, okay.
He lost a fortune in Lloyd's underwriting, and he had 7 or 8 Ferraris, and I bought that one from him.
I take it you haven't owned it for very long then?
No, I've had it for 14 years.
Oh wow. It is beautiful, isn't it? It must be. I mean, I personally don't know how many other cars you have, but I would imagine that is the one that gives you the most.
That's my dream.
Yeah. I think it's important for everyone to have it and to realise the dream. So why did you bring it here today? Are you not worried that it might get scratched at all or anything, or do you just
That's
like?
Why I'm standing here watching. Well, I think it's nice to see, let people see it, and it means we get it polished up and bring it out.
Because of course it has the V6 engine, doesn't it? It's
a V6, a 2.4 litre V6.
And have you done anything else to it at all? Have you modified it in any way?
No, it's not been tampered with. Nick Cartwright of Nick Cartwright Specialist Cars, who's probably the leading Dino man in the UK, maybe the world. He actually owned it for a short time when Alex Sadkin, who was record producer for Dire Straits and other major bands, he owned it, and I think he owed Nick some money, and he was killed. Alex Sadkin was killed in the Bahamas in a motor accident, and Nick had it. After I bought it, I took it there to be serviced, and when I parked at the garage, he took me by the arm and took me into his office and pointed, and there was a photograph of the car with his 2 kids sitting in it, so he was pleased to see it back.
Did he give you free servicing for the
No, I wish.
Because it must be hard to find people nowadays. You mentioned, of course, that he is probably the #1 world expert on dinos, but it must be hard to find people that know what classic Ferraris were about nowadays.
Yeah, but the classic movement's very, very strong. And bits that 10 years ago for the Dino you couldn't get, the electronic, very basic electronic system, it was almost irreplaceable. Then I had it replaced and it was an American unit, but now they're making a Magneti Marelli lookalike. I mean, it was so reliable that Ferrari, when they made the car, put 2 coil systems on it. When one failed, just switched it over and used the other one.
Okay, so that's pretty good. I'm going to ask you one last question, if I may. I'm going to be rather cheeky here and ask what happened to the wing mirrors, or was it pre-wing mirror legislation?
Pre-wing mirror legislation.
So
Didn't have them with the spoiler line.
it looks like a woman, doesn't it? It's got the curves. It's got the curves of a perfect hourglass figure.
Yeah, I agree with you.
George, thank you very much for talking to us. And wow,
Nice car.
thank you.
Thank you.